Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Santosh and welcome to the lecture series of Science of Sleep. So in the last lecture, we talk about what are the various causes. Because of that, we are having the sleep deprivation and how we can overcome that particular causes. Now in this lecture, before going to the physiology of sleep that we will cover in the third lecture, but in this lecture we will see the stress effect on the sleep. So stress effect on the sleep. Now whenever we are talking about the stress effect, there should be certain chemical which is present inside our brain, right? And if this is the brain, this somewhere here might be the hypothalamus, okay, and the pituitary gland. This is the pituitary gland. So whenever we are talking about the sleep, we already saw there are so many center, and the most important center is hypothalamus. Okay, so somewhere here, this is the your brain, this is the hypothalamus, and inside the hypothalamus there is one nucleus which is called suprachiasmatic nucleus. You know that this is the pituitary gland, and here there are eyes, right? Optic nerve. This is another optic nerve, right? And this is the crossing of optic nerve. And above that crossing, about that optic chiasma, there is one nucleus, and the nucleus is called suprachiasmatic nucleus. Now, why we are talking about the suprachiasmatic nucleus? This nucleus or this part of your hypothalamus, it is the body clock. This is your body clock. Here is your body clock. The circadian rhythm of your sleep cycle is maintained from here. That is which one? Suprachiasmatic nucleus. This suprachiasmatic nucleus, after stimulation, okay, they stimulate the pituitary gland. This is the hanging, you already know, which is present in the sella turcica. The name of gland is pituitary gland, and that pituitary gland, there is a anterior lobe of pituitary gland, posterior lobe of pituitary gland, and there is an intermediate lobe of pituitary gland also, but which is not really well developed in case of the human being, which is a better developed in case of animal, right? We already know that part, so we don't go in a detail of that particular part. So suprachiasmatic nucleus, which is present, okay, inside the hypothalamus, they send the impulse or they send the message by secreting corticotropic releasing hormone. We already know that almost all releasing hormone, they release from hypothalamus, and from hypothalamus they enter into the pituitary gland, and from pituitary gland there are the main hormone like this hormone like corticotropin releasing hormone. The releasing hormone is released from this suprachiasmatic nucleus, and what this hormone want from anterior pituitary gland, that anterior pituitary gland should secrete the hormone, and that hormone is called ACTH. What is the long form of ACTH? Adrenocorticotropin hormone. Okay, so here this A word, that is adreno, it means that the ACTH hormone which is released by anterior lobe of pituitary gland with response to the corticotropic releasing hormone from the hypothalamus or from the suprachiasmatic nucleus, this ACTH, where it act 100%, it act on an adrenal gland. It act on an adrenal gland. You already know adrenal gland is present on the top of kidney. This is adrenal gland which is having cortex and medulla. You already know the medulla secrete different hormone like adrenaline, noradrenaline, cortex, they are corticotropin. So adrenocorticotropin hormone. Okay, so adrenocorticotropin hormone, okay, enter where to the or stimulate the adrenal gland, and this adrenal gland secrete the cortisol. What is the name of hormone secreted by the adrenal gland? That is called the cortisol, and this cortisol regulate the stress level. This cortisol regulate the stress level. This is very, very important. I want you to remember. So whenever we are talking about the stress effect, okay, what exactly happened? The hypothalamic part, in which there is a most important body clock mechanism, that is the suprachiasmatic nucleus. they send the impulse by secreting corticotropic releasing hormone from suprachiasmatic nucleus. It will enter into the anterior pituitary gland. Anterior pituitary gland secrete the adrenocorticotropic hormone ACTH. This ACTH acts on the adrenal gland, and adrenal gland secrete cortisol. Adrenal gland secrete the cortisol, and this cortisol, it is used, or it is basically the maintaining the stress effect. It maintains the stress effect. This cortisol is controlling the stress level. So who control the stress level inside your body? That is the cortisol hormone. Okay, and that is why cortisol hormone is called stress hormone, and this hormone is peak during the daytime. Daytime may the level of cortisol will be more, right? Now what happened when this cortisol secretion from adrenal gland is going to be stopped? Okay, this is the feedback mechanism. Normally your hormone has one mechanism. One is called negative feedback mechanism, another is called positive feedback mechanism. So what happened when there is enough level of ACTH hormone inside the blood circulation? There is a message from blood circulation to your hypothalamus that ACTH is already enough there. Stop releasing which one? That is your which one? Corticotropin releasing hormone. If there is a no corticotropic releasing hormone, there is a no secretion of or no release of ACTH. Why? Because ACTH is already there inside your blood circulation. So that is what the feedback mechanism. Now this we already study or see now. Now what happened whenever we are talking about this hormone that is called cortisol hormone or stress hormone, which is a peak during the day. हम लोग डे में ज़्यादा एक्टिव रहते हैं ना, डे ज़्यादा एक्टिविटी करते हैं, that's why it is called stress hormone. Now hormone level usually is not static. The level of hormone usually is not static. If this is the 24-hour, 12-hour day or 12-hour night, so the level is not like that. Level is not static. 12-hour, same level. It's not basically static, or it is not basically the wavy. It is not basically the wavy, right? So there are two things I want you to remember regarding this cortisol hormone. It is not a static or wavy. It is multiple oscillating type. बाकी सारे hormone, rest of the all hormone, you can see there is a static increase, or you can say there is a wave-like releasing. But here, this cortisol, it's like a multiple oscillating for 24 hours, like this. So how the hormone is, level is inside your body of this cortisol, it is not static, not wavy also, it is oscillating type. Multiple time, like oscillating, right? Why it is oscillating type? Why not wavy? Why not static? Because all other hormone inside your body, their secretion is like regulation, like wavy or static. Why the oscillating one? Okay, there is some reason. Okay, almost all gland, they make the hormone and they store the hormone. Okay, inside your body, basically almost whatever the endocrine glands are there, they make the hormone and they store the hormone also. But adrenal gland cannot store the hormone. This is very, very important, right? Adrenal gland make the cortisol hormone, but it cannot store it. So if it doesn't store it, it has to make it again and again from zero to peak. From zero to peak. Every time, whenever there is a need of stress hormone inside your body, adrenal gland has to start it again from the zero level. And that is why what I say that cortisol, that is the stress hormone, okay, it is secretion is not static, not wavy, it is a multiple oscillating type. It is multiple oscillating type. Okay, these are the reasons. So adrenal gland has to make this on every time, right? Now cortisol effect, you already know this cortisol effect on the body clock. We will see how and when this cortisol hormone affect your body clock. Before going that, we already saw that the body clock in brain is maintained by hypothalamus. Which nucleus? Suprachiasmatic nucleus, right? Now we will see the body clock and cortisol hormone relation, right? So cortisol affect the body clock. During or after the sleep, the level of cortisol hormone decreases, right? So it's a daytime or it might be the night time. This is the cortisol level, right? So what happened? After the sleep, the level decreases. This is somewhere at 9 p.m. on 11 p.m. and after the sleep, the level decreases. Level decreases slowly. And then again, in morning time, it start increasing. Again, in the morning time, it start increasing, right? So it's not a wavy. So I should draw like this. So 11 p.m., 12 p.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m. So cortisol after sleep level decreasing, right? After sleep, the level of cortisol decreasing and slowly start rising in morning. Slowly start rising in morning time. Okay. Then one more. In aging, old age, senior citizens, in aging also, the level of cortisol secretion decrease. Normal level is like 10 unit. So in aging, it is like 7 or 6 units. So actually in aging, the level of cortisol secretion is decreasing. And that is why the sleep is not really maintained in case of senior citizen, right? So they are like, just like children, right? Now, like in depression also, if somebody is in depression or somebody is depressed, at that time, the level of cortisol secretion is diminished. Level of cortisol secretion is diminished, right? So this is all about the various level of cortisol. The normally after sleep level decreasing, okay, and slowly start rising in the morning time, right? Aging, cortisol secretion decreasing, and in depression, cortisol secretion is decreasing. Okay, so this is your first one, that is called stress. Now, second one, when we are talking about the sleep, there is one chemical that is called melatonin. That is called melatonin. In this lecture, we also talk about the melatonin. So, melatonin. Melatonin is synthesized in a pineal gland. Which gland? Pineal gland. And it is a P-shaped gland, right? So it is like in brain. So here some like pituitary gland, anterior lobe, posterior lobe, right? And then here there is the eye. You already know this is your right eye. Somewhere there from left eye, optic chiasma. Here there is a suprachiasmatic nucleus, right? And somewhere here there is a pineal gland. There is a pineal gland. Okay. So now we will see melatonin is secreted by or is synthesis in pineal gland, right? It is in also in a rhythm. It is also secretion of the melatonin. It is in the rhythm, but the peak of melatonin is opposite to cortisol. I already told you, right? Cortisol secretion is maximum during the daytime, but the melatonin secretion peak Peak means highest is during the night time. So peak of melatonin hormone, it is in night time. So sleep requires this hormone, that is during the night time, and that is why the cortisol is called the stress hormone and melatonin is called the darkness hormone. It is called which hormone? Darkness hormone. I will make it dark. Yeah. So which hormone? That is the melatonin secreted by which gland? Pineal gland, and it is important for the sleep and peak during night. Opposite to that, we already saw the cortisol. It is stress hormone and peak during daytime. Okay, that's what the relation for the sleep, right? This is also called the darkness hormone. This hormone also driven in a biological clock. Whenever we are talking about the biological clock, we talk about the suprachiasmatic nucleus, which is maintaining the biological clock, like when to sleep, when to awake, right? That is a biological clock of human being. This pineal gland or this hormone secreted by the pineal gland, that is a melatonin, it is also driven in a biological clock. Driven means it also has the important role for the biological clock. So this hormone also driven in a biological clock. Now we will see that this is your which one? Suprachiasmatic nucleus. This is a eye, this is the optic nerve, another eye behind, and there is a crossing. In this crossing, that is called optic chiasma, and inside about the optic chiasma there is a hypothalamus. Inside that there is a suprachiasmatic nucleus. Pineal gland somewhere here, there is a pineal gland. Then here there is a ventricles. These are the ventricle, and here are there certain another nucleus which is called paraventricular nucleus. Pineal gland, suprachiasmatic nucleus, right, which is maintaining the, that is called biological clock. So how they related? So here cerebellum, look, in this fashion they are connected. Okay, in this fashion they are connected. I think they have to turn around like this. Okay, they don't. So this is the pathway how they are connected to each other. So this is a pineal gland, this is a suprachiasmatic nucleus in the hypothalamus or biological clock, this is a paraventricular nucleus, you don't have to go, and this is your pituitary gland, that is the anterior lobe of pituitary gland, posterior lobe of pituitary gland. This is the eye, this is the eye. Okay, so we will see that. So biological clock, basically whenever we are talking about the biological clock, this biological clock is connected to the pineal gland. We can use this melatonin. Okay, so whenever I say that biological clock is connected to the pineal gland, it means that they work together. They basically work together. So if you want to see the sleep activity, we can measure the melatonin hormone. Okay, so melatonin level. So biological clock connected to the pineal gland, we already discussed this. So we can use this melatonin as a major marker in circadian cycle. We can use as a marker in circadian cycle because it is connected. It is connected in our circadian cycle or sleep awake cycle, and this pineal gland secrete which hormone? The melatonin, and we already know melatonin is peak inside during the night. So there might be a connection, and that's why we can use this hormone as a marker in the circadian cycle. Melatonin is basically increased secretion in dim light. So increased secretion of melatonin in dim light, or you can say during the night time, right? How we can measure? Okay, we can measure melatonin at two places. First, in blood, we can measure the level of melatonin, the plasma melatonin level. This is one where we can measure the melatonin, and this melatonin is metabolized. This is some chemical or hormone. It will undergo the metabolism, and when it undergo the metabolism, we can also measure the melatonin in the urine. So blood plasma and the urine, these are the place, or these are here we can measure the melatonin, right? So whenever we are talking about the melatonin, we already know that this is the eye. This is the eye. From eye, so if there is a light impulse or there is a light which is first perceived by the eye, from eye it enter into your retina, and from retina into the optic nerve, and from optic nerve to the optic chiasma. Here there are suprachiasmatic nucleus. Here there are basically the suprachiasmatic nucleus. These are the suprachiasmatic nucleus. What is the function of suprachiasmatic nucleus? एक तो हमको already पता है, that is the sleep. It controls the sleep. It controls the awakening and temperature. There are so many functions. I want you to remember sleep, awake, and temperature, right? So this is how from eye to the suprachiasmatic nucleus, okay, and from suprachiasmatic nucleus through this that is called lateral to the paraventricular nucleus, right? It will go and enter into where the pineal gland. And here at pineal gland, it maintain the melatonin rhythm. It maintain the melatonin rhythm. So this is through a pathway. This is through the pathway. So if we talk, it is to the visual pathway. So there might be in blind people, the clock should be desynchronized. If it work through the visual pathway, what happened? If it work through the visual pathway, because it is going through the eye, and in eye there is a visual pathway, right? So if it go through the visual pathway, what about the blind people? Blind people, in blind people, the clock should be desynchronized. Am I correct? Because the light enter, and because of that it enter to the visual pathway. So whenever it enter to the visual pathway, what about the blind people? Blind people doesn't have the vision. The clock should be desynchronized. The clock should be desynchronized. That is very important. The clock should be desynchronized. So let's see how the light enter into the eye and how the biological clock is maintained, right? So the first light enter into the eye through the pupil, and from the pupil, this is the light enter into the eye through the pupil, okay, and then it reaches to the retina. Right? Inside the retina there are rods and cones. There are a cell, they are called rods and cones. These rods, they are basically for the dim light vision. So rod for D for dim light, and these cones, they are for color or daylight vision. So do you understand? Rod for dim light and cones for color. And there are another cell that might be the ganglion cell or Muller cell. Many cells, they are present in the retina, right? So whenever we are talking about the light entering into the eye, we are talking about the visible spectrum. We are talking about the which light? That is called the visible spectrum, right? And generally this two cell, that is called rods and cone, these are called photosensitive cell. These are called photosensitive or photoreceptor cell. These two cell, rod cell and the cone cell. And here there are another cell which carry the impulse, which carry the impulse, right? So this is all about the pathway. This is all about the pathway, and this rod and cone of the retina, they enter into the optic nerve, and then visual impulse go. This is all about your which one? That is called the pathway. Which pathway? Visual pathway. Okay. So what happened here? If you change your night-day sleep cycle, if somehow if you change your night and day sleep cycle, right, then it disturbs the circadian rhythm, right? What happened if you change your night day sleep cycle? You're awaking during the night and you start sleeping during the daytime. What exactly happened? You feel tired during the daytime, and because of that tiredness, usually all the activities inside the community and offices, they are in the daytime, and that is why your performance get reduced. Okay, because of this, some people can't go to the bed at the time, so early to the bed, early to awake. That's what the formula is. But because of the, if you change the shift, or if you change your night day sleep cycle, you feel tired and there will be a reduced response, or there will be a reduced performance, right? So these are certain reasons. Now what we can do, we can treat such person by giving melatonin, because melatonin is important, right? Melatonin, or we can give them light also. Right? So when to give them melatonin, when to give the light, it is also important, right? Now, before that, we will come back again and we will see the mechanism of eye and sleep. Right? So whenever we are talking about the sleep, we already know that we spend almost 36 to 40% of our whole life in sleep, right? So out of 100 days, 36 to 40 days we spend. That's how it's calculated. 36% means not like a day and night. It is like, if you calculate in hour, 36 to 40% we spend in the sleep. During sleep, we already discussed about the processing of information. Sleep is like a very active phase. Building of memory, collection of memory, repair of the cell, toxins are cleared from your body like beta amyloid, right? That causes the dementia, metabolic rebuild, because your cell has to metabolize, and that's why it is rebuilt during the night or sleep time. And energy replenishment, we already talk about this in a previous lecture. And there is one more thing. During the sleep, growth hormone is secreted during the first half of the sleep, right? So during the first half of the sleep, or during the first half of the night, there is one more hormone which is secreted, that is called growth hormone. And whenever there is a secretion of growth hormone, there is a division of the cell, and cell divide, and there is a repair of tissue. That's why there is a repair of tissue, right? So sleep is not how it will repair the tissue. How sleep will repair the tissue? By increasing the level of growth hormone during the night time, and this is how the tissue should be repaired. Now growth hormone is secreted during the first half of the night, and that is how it will involve in the tissue repair, and that is the function of the growth hormone, right? So this is all about the growth hormone, how sleep is important. And we already know eye is important to maintain the sleep awake cycle. How? So before going to the bed, it is like advice, don't be in the bright light. It is the advice of almost all the people, don't be in a bright light. If before going to the bed, it will delay your sleep cycle, right? That is the important, you can say, mantra, right? Before going to the bed, don't be in the bright light. If you want to go in a bed, it delay your sleep cycle, right? And that is why if you are playing with the laptop, or if you are working on your computer or cell phone, the bright light of that particular cell phone or laptop, that is going to delay your sleep cycle, because that bright light, it is made up of that bright light, they have the blue light, and that blue light stimulate the secretion of the hormone, or they will maintain or decrease the secretion of which one? Melatonin. And that melatonin is important for your sleep, and that is why it is like advised that, or it is very important, before going to the bed, don't be in the bright light. It delay your the sleep cycle. So why there is a sleep disruption? One thing, because of the sleep wake cycle disruption or circadian rhythm disruption. Another, like in psychiatric illnesses, there is a sleep disruption. In neurodegenerative disorder, there is a sleep disruption. If there is an ocular disease, there is a sleep disruption. Aging, trauma, stroke, stress, we already discovered. Social isolation, and if somebody is on medication, it will causes also sleep disruption. Okay, so these are the certain reasons where there should be a sleep disruption. Okay, without that there should not be a sleep disruption, right? Now, once again we come back to our eye. So whenever I said eye, we are talking about the image detection. What is the function of eye? Image detection. No, image detection is not the function of eye. Okay, I process the information, I give the information, I process the information to the brain. Okay, I process the information to the brain, and in brain we can see the beautiful world, or we can see the image. So brain is the place where there is a detection of image, right? So in the visual cortex of the brain we can see the image. So image detection is not basically the function of eye. Image detection is not basically the function of eye. So what should be the function of eye? Brightness detection. Brightness detection. This is the best word we can see. What is the function of eye? Brightness detection is the function of eye. Image detection, eye process the image, give the information to the brain, and inside the brain there is a image detection, right? This is what our biological clock want. Our biological clock doesn't want image detection. Our biological clock want brightness detection, right? This is very, very important. And that is why there is a connection between eye sleep wake cycle. So to regulate the internal time of clock, okay, this is the clock, that is the suprachiasmatic nucleus. This is the clock which maintains the sleep wake cycle. And how it maintains? Because I detect the brightness. That is why there is a role of eye in the biological clock, and that's the biological clock want to regulate the internal time of the clock. Okay, so this is all about the eye, and we already discussed what happened now. Okay, in eye, the light enter through the pupil. From pupil, it will enter into the retina. In retina, there are photoreceptor cell or photosensitive cell. What are they? Rods and cone. What are the name? Rods and cone. So photoreceptor cell in the retina, they are called rod and the cone. Rod is for black and white or dim light. Black and white, or you can say dim light, and cone is for color. Cone is for the color vision, or that you can say the day. And there is a inner retina. Okay, so these are like rod shape, these are the cone shape. Rods are more in the retina. Okay, and that is why they are called rods and cone. And these are the layer: pigment layer, Bruch membrane, then layer of photoreceptor cell, which is called rods and cone. Okay, now this inner retina layer is the first processing of image. मैंने बोला ना, what I said, that image processing to the brain, okay, it is done by inner layer of retina. Okay, now this processing, they collect and send in the ganglion cell. After rod and cone, these are the ganglion cell. I will not go in detail because there are so many cells here. That is the ganglion cell, and this all ganglion cell, nerve fiber, postganglionic, they together forms the optic nerve. And from this optic nerve, it will enter into the brain. So do you understand what exactly happened? The light pursued by or detected by a photoreceptor cell, rods and cone, right? And from rods and cone photoreceptor cell, it is enter into the first processing image, that is the inner retinal layer. This is the inner retinal layer. Okay, first processing of image is done. From there, it will enter into the ganglionic cell. From ganglionic cell, they forms the optic nerve. From optic nerve, they enter into the brain. So up till now, everything is clear. Rods and cone, photoreceptor cell, then ganglion cell, then optic nerve, and then to the brain. What happens if you remove the rods and cone? If you remove the rods and cone, these are the photoreceptor cell. If you remove the rods and cone from the eye, then what about the biological clock? How it regulated? How it regulated? That is the most important question, right? Blind people, they also sleep. What is the another photoreceptor cell rather than rods and cone? There should be some another photoreceptor cell rather than rods and cone, right? That is very important. Rods and cones are not only the photoreceptor cell. What are the another photoreceptor cell rather than rods and cone? The ganglion cell. This ganglion cell. This ganglion cell, like 1 in 100 or 1 in 200, not all ganglion cell, they're sensitive to the blue spectrum of light. Visible light, violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red, right? All these light is perceived by your rods and cone because they are photoreceptor cell. But the ganglion cell, they have a property to perceive which light? Blue light. Which light? To perceive. Or not all ganglion cell, only the 1 in 100. They are sensitive to the blue light, and that's why that ganglion cell is also called blue ganglion cell. Now this ganglion cell, they might give the stimulus or they give the stimulus to the biological clock regulation. Okay, so if there is a blindness, if there is a no good layer of rods and cone, if there is anything happen to your rods and cone, also the ganglion cell, they can also function, okay, by adapting to which cell? That is called blue cell. And this is the stimulus for biological clock regulation, right? So patient with rod and cone, okay, patient, they have the rod and cone, that is a visual cell, okay, along with the intact, that is called ganglionic cell. So what they can do? They can see in the daylight. They can see in the daylight and they can regulate the sleep-wake cycle. This blue light, and then it might affect your melatonin, that is a pineal gland. And because of the perceiving blue light, the pineal gland doesn't secrete the melatonin. And if there is no melatonin, you doesn't fall to the sleep. And that's what I am saying. That's what I am saying consistently. The light is very important. The light is very important, right? So this is all about your which one? Rods and cone. If there is no rods and cone, patient is the blind, but patient still have inner retinal cell, okay, that is called ganglion cell. Still that patient can undergo the sleep because they perceive which light? That is called blue light during the day, and during night there is no blue light, right? So this is all about your which one? So what is the function of eye? Eye is not image detection, eye is for the brightness detection. Eye provide the sense of space. I provide the sense of space or sense of time, right? So this is very, very important, right? To perceive the ganglionic cell layer in case of the blind person, right? So what happened? What happened? What should we think about this particular knowledge? A patient is blind, there is no rods and cone, but we know that ganglionic cells are very, very important. Now in short, we will see how the light work, the blue light work in case of the sleep. So in this lecture, what we only saw the effect of light and cortisol, okay, in the sleep-wake cycle, right? So once again, the light enter into the eye through pupil, then from pupil it falls on the retina. They have the rod cell and cone cell and ganglion cell also. Now we will know that is called ganglion cell. 1 out of 100. Now this ganglion cell, they are also called IPGR cell. What is meant by IPGR cell? Intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cell. Intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cell. So these are photosensitive cell. So अभी तक हम लोग देखते थे, till now we just saw only rods and cones are the photosensitive or photoreceptor cell, but there are ganglion cell that is called IPGR cell, and they are photosensitive to which light? Blue light. Okay, which one? That is the blue light, approximately 490 to 450 nanometer, the wavelength. They are specific about the blue light. Now this IPGR cell, okay, so this IPGR cell, they are photosensitive cell. They are photosensitive cell and they can maintain the circadian rhythm. They can maintain the circadian rhythm. They can detect time. They can take the time of sleep and wake. So sleep wake cycle time is maintained by this IPGR cell also, right? How? By secretion of melatonin. Okay, so secretion of melatonin, because during the night time there is no blue light entering into the eye and there is no into the, that is called retina, not into the ganglion cell, and that is how there is a peak secretion of melatonin and sleep wake cycle will be maintained, right? This IPGR cell, how they act? If light is present and if light is absent, we will see. Okay, so what happened? IPGR, if the light is present, there is a depolarization of this cell. In presence of light, there is a depolarization. Because of depolarization, there is an inhibition of function of pineal gland. Inhibit pineal gland function. What is the function of pineal gland? Secretion of melatonin. But if there is a light, there is a depolarization of IPGR cell, okay, and impulse sent to this pineal gland, and pineal gland doesn't secrete which hormone? Melatonin hormone. That's why I'm saying that presence of light inhibit the function of pineal gland. There is no melatonin. There is no melatonin, right? And this IPGR cell, okay, now we will see if there is a no light. This is about the light and this is about the no light. When there is a no light, there is a repolarization of this IPGR cell, and then pineal gland, there is no inhibition. There is a no inhibition of the pineal gland, and that is why pineal gland secrete melatonin. That is why pineal gland secrete the melatonin, and because that melatonin along with the suprachiasmatic nucleus, which is a biological, which maintain the biological clock or circadian rhythm, right, is depressed. Is basically the depress the cerebral cortex. Cerebral cortex. And after depressing the cerebral cortex, if the cerebral cortex depress, decrease thinking and decrease activity, and that person can land up into the sleep. This is how the IPGR cell work. Okay, not only the rod and cone in case of blind person, right? So if the person is blind, right, so he don't know where there is light, so it might be a treatment. If he's suffering from the sleep disturbances, you can use the blue light during the daytime for him, or we can use the melatonin tablet for the treatment during the sleep. Okay, not only for the blind person, we can use the same treatment for the another sleep deprived patient. So this is all about your which one, that is called the part 2, in which we just talk about the stress and the melatonin. And in the third part we will talk about the pharmacology and physiology of the sleep. So normal physiology and pharmacology will be your next third and fourth part, right? So there are 4 parts in your sleep cycle or in the science of the sleep. So we just done with the part 2.